All right, so you've sent over a ton of articles and social media posts about fintech.
Yeah.
A lot of it focused on Taiwan.
Mm.
Seems like you're trying to figure out where things are going, especially for Taiwan's financial scene.
Right.
So is Taiwan going to be like the next big fintech leader in Asia?
That's the question, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think your sources really give us a lot to think about there.
Okay.
You've got new regulations popping up, innovative services that are launching.
Right.
Even how, like, Swift, these global giants are adapting.
Well, since you mentioned regulations, Taiwan's Financial Supervisory Commission, the FSC, they're making some moves with stricter cryptocurrency regulations.
Yeah, that's definitely a sign of the times, right?
Yeah.
Remember when Taiwan had that kind of hands-off approach to crypto? Seems like those days are over.
Yeah. Are they changing their tune?
It looks like these new requirements for VASPs, virtual asset service providers, show that they're getting ready to oversee things a lot more directly.
And that has to be a little worrying for some of the companies involved, right?
Yeah, I would imagine so.
Especially some of the smaller players who maybe aren't as familiar with navigating these regulations.
I think that's a really important point.
Okay.
Because on the one hand, you've got this drive for innovation, but then you've got the need for regulation to protect investors and ensure that things are fair.
Right.
But then the question is, how heavy will that hand be?
Yeah.
Will it stifle that innovation?
Right.
Or will it help it?
It's a tough balance to strike.
It is. It is a tightrope walk.
Yeah, because at the same time, you've got Taiwan making it easier for professional investors to get into crypto a little bit.
Yeah.
So I'm talking about the news about them being able to buy into those overseas Bitcoin spot ETFs.
Yes.
Which are...
This is a big deal.
Yeah.
Because it really kind of legitimizes Bitcoin as an asset class.
Okay.
In the eyes of Taiwanese regulators.
Interesting.
Even if it is limited to professional investors.
Right.
For now.
Right.
Right. So it's like, are they dipping their toes in the water?
Yeah.
Testing it out?
It makes you wonder what their long-term strategy is.
Yeah.
Because I know some people were saying this is a step in the right direction, but then others are saying, well, if they've already given crypto exchanges the green light, why not just let anyone invest in these ETFs?
Why not? What are they so afraid of? Yeah. So it's a valid question.
It really is.
It'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
It really will.
But moving from regulations, let's look at the companies themselves.
Okay.
Your sources highlight some really fascinating stuff happening with Taiwan's purely digital banks.
Yes.
They're really upping their game.
Yeah. It's like a three-way battle between Line Bank, Rakuten Bank, and Next Bank, all trying to win over customers in their own way.
And they've got different strategies for doing that.
Yeah.
Line Bank is all about convenience, right?
Okay.
So they're rolling out features like foreign currency accounts and making transfers super smooth, really aiming for that effortless banking experience.
Yeah.
And then you've got Rakuten Bank, who's kind of setting their sights on a different segment.
Yeah, the business world.
Yeah.
Right, expanding those loan offerings.
Yep, trying to be the go-to for entrepreneurs and companies.
So they all have their own little niche.
They do.
That they're trying to fill.
And then you've got Next Bank.
Right.
Who are like, we want to be the one-stop shop.
Okay.
The financial Swiss Army knife.
Interesting.
They're even getting into mortgages.
Wow. Okay. So
very different approaches.
Very different approaches, but all very interesting.
Yeah, it really shows that Taiwan's digital banking sector is having a moment.
It really is.
It'll be fascinating to see how it all plays out.
Yeah.
But this isn't just a local phenomenon, right?
No, not at all.
Because even Swift,
the
backbone of international bank transfers, the OG, the original gangster.
They're even jumping into this new world.
They are.
With their announcement about testing blockchain for digital asset transactions.
It's a big deal.
That's huge.
It's a potential game changer.
Yeah.
Not just for them,
right,
but for the entire financial world.
Wow.
We're talking cryptocurrencies, digital securities, everything.
So they're really looking towards the future then.
They are.
And saying, okay, how do we adapt to this new world?
How do we stay relevant?
Right, because they could become obsolete.
Exactly.
They don't.
It's adapt or die in the fast-paced world of fintech.
That's a good way of putting it.
Right.
Yeah.
The stakes are high.
They really are for everybody.
Yeah.
It's interesting to see how institutions are handling this because you've got Swift taking on this global approach. And then you've got Taiwan kind of saying, okay, let's make things better for our investors in our own backyard. This e-counter system that you dug up sounds really interesting.
It is.
It really is amazing how they're making it so much easier for investors to manage their shares right from their smartphone.
It's all about convenience these days.
It really is.
Like, who has time to deal with paperwork?
Right.
Waiting in lines to manage your investments.
It's all about that digital experience, isn't it?
Exactly.
Just like everything else.
That's the expectation now.
Yeah.
People want things to be simple and easy to use.
And this new e-counter system really fits the bill.
It does. And it's not just Taiwan.
Right.
This is a global trend. We're seeing governments and financial institutions all over the world realizing they need to get with the times.
That's true.
And embrace digital transformation.
Yeah, everything's going digital.
Exactly.
And it's interesting how these new regulations also explicitly cover NFTs.
That's a good point.
Which are kind of their own beast, right?
Yeah, they're often lumped in with cryptocurrency.
Right.
But they're not quite the same thing.
So for those of us who might need a quick refresher, what makes NFTs different?
Okay, so the key difference is uniqueness.
Okay.
With cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, one Bitcoin is the same as any other.
Right.
They're fungible.
Okay.
But NFTs are non-fungible.
Meaning?
Meaning each one is completely unique.
Got it.
Like a digital fingerprint.
So it's like owning a piece of digital history or something. Exactly. Yeah. They can be anything digital.
Wow.
Art, music, even tweets.
Interesting.
But the important thing is each NFT is one of a kind.
So with these new regulations in Taiwan, what does that actually mean for someone who buys an NFT?
Well, it's still early days.
Okay.
The regulations are still being developed.
Right.
But the fact that NFTs are included at all shows that Taiwan is taking a proactive approach.
Interesting.
They're trying to get ahead of the curve and shape how these technologies are used.
So it'll be really interesting to see how that all plays out.
It will.
Because these regulations could have a ripple effect.
Absolutely.
Around the world.
They could set a precedent.
Yeah. Taiwan might just be leading the way.
They might be.
But let's zoom out for a second.
Okay.
Because everything happening in Taiwan,
with their regulations and innovations, it's not happening in a vacuum.
Yeah.
It's all part of a much bigger global shift that's happening in fintech.
A global revolution.
And it makes you wonder, like, how will this all play out in the long run?
That's the million-dollar question, right?
Right.
And I don't think anybody has the answer.
It's exciting, though.
It is.
Because it feels like we're on the cusp of something big.
We are?
Like the whole financial world is being turned upside down.
Yeah, and it's not just about technology either.
What do you mean?
It's about people.
Okay.
How we interact with money.
Okay.
How we manage our finances.
Right.
It's about access.
Interesting.
And inclusion.
So it's not just about making things faster or cheaper.
Right.
It's about making them better for everyone.
For everyone.
I like that.
And that's what makes this so fascinating to me.
Yeah.
It's not just about numbers.
Right.
It's about people.
It's a little bit scary, though, right?
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, you're putting all your trust in these digital platforms.
Yeah.
With your information.
Your money, everything.
Yeah.
The security threats are definitely something to keep in mind.
Because if something goes wrong,
right,
it can go really wrong.
Yeah, it can have a huge impact.
And it's not just individuals at risk either, right?
Yeah, exactly. This is a systemic issue.
Right.
We're talking about critical infrastructure here.
Right, like Swift with their blockchain plans.
Exactly.
They're trying to connect all these separate systems.
Right, they want to create a more unified system.
Do you think that's the answer?
It could be. I mean, one of the biggest challenges in fintech is the lack of interoperability.
Right, everyone's doing their own thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if Swift can bridge those gaps,
right,
it could make a huge difference.
It's encouraging to see that they're not alone in this, right?
Right.
I mean, you've got major institutions like the Hong Kong Monetary Authority and the Bank of France.
Right. They're all involved in these early trials.
Yeah.
It shows that they're taking this seriously.
Yeah, they're putting their money where their mouth is.
Exactly. And that's what we need to see more of.
Right, because this isn't just about technology.
It's about collaboration.
Exactly.
We need everyone working together.
Governments, institutions.
Investors, the public.
Everybody needs to be on board.
Right, because at the end of the day, these technologies are supposed to make our lives better.
Right.
Not more complicated.
It's been fascinating to dive into all of this with you.
It's been a pleasure.
I feel like I've learned a lot.
Me too.
And it seems like the world of fintech is changing every day.
Every minute.
So it's important to stay informed.
Absolutely.
And to keep asking questions.
Never stop learning.
Right. Because who knows what the future holds?
That's the exciting part.
The next big breakthrough could be just around the corner.
Exactly. And maybe it'll come from someone listening to this right now.
Maybe so.
So if you're out there and you're curious about fintech, don't be afraid to dive in.
Explore, and who knows, you might just change the world.
You never know.